Hey, listeners, this episode is brought to you by EF World Journeys. Today's travelers want more from their vacation. That's why more people are turning to travel professionals to help them explore the world with confidence. For nearly 35 years, EF World Journeys has been the go to guided experiential travel company for leisure travelers who want to learn more about people, places, and cultures around the world. Its brands EF Ultimate Break, EF Go Ahead Tours, and EF Adventures serve everyone from Gen Z to baby boomers and help tens of thousands of US and Canadian travelers every year explore 400 bucket list destinations. EF World Journeys is one of North America's biggest guided group tour companies, and its expert planned immersive itineraries focus on the big moments and little things that make travel and meeting new people so rewarding. It's experiential travel that goes deeper, where every journey builds a connection, inspires wellness, and fuels a lifelong love of learning. EF World Journeys, guided by experts, driven by curiosity. To learn more, go to efworldjourneys.com. Welcome back, Skift Travel Podcast listeners. It is me, Will Slickers, the Director of Video and Audio Strategy here at Skift. And I'm so excited because we have one more episode or one more week of summer vacation while Seth and Sarah are enjoying some fun in the sun and are coming back to the podcast with a vengeance next week with an amazing first episode back that we cannot wait for all of you to hear. But today we are going to share another episode of Good Morning Hospitality because if you heard the first one that we shared on this feed, it was from our Monday crew or short-term rental crew, we like to call them. And this episode is going to be from our hotel crew. So we have two episodes that run on this podcast each week, one live broadcasted video and audio on Mondays, and then one live on Wednesdays, same setup, video and audio, but two different crews. And this crew, Sarah Dandashy and Steve Turk, focus on hotels, travel, airlines, and many other growing trends that are happening in the industry. This episode is fun because you're going to hear them talk to live viewers who comment in their thoughts, who engage with them during the broadcast that goes out on LinkedIn and YouTube. But just know that we also want to hear any feedback you may have. So comment in to podcasts at skift.com. That's podcast with the S at the end at skift.com. I'll make sure to link to that in the show notes. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Good Morning Hospitality with Sarah Dandashy and Steve Turk right here on Skift.
Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels to short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts. Good morning.
Good morning, Sarah.
Woo!
How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I thought you would be in Paris or flying on a plane, but you made it back home.
I did. I was really hoping because as we all know, the Parisians love to just say they don't want to work today. And I was really hoping because I was on a late flight. It was the last flight out of Paris back to Los Angeles last night. And I'm like, these people better not be taking a baguette break and they better stay true and come to work. And they did. So I made it home late last night. It was great. I had
How
no
was it?
Wi-Fi on my plane.
Oh
That was
my God, what century are you in?
Oh my gosh. I mean, they apparently they prepped other people ahead of time. I did not get the notification, but that was you know what I have to because of that, I ended up connecting with a lot of people on the plane. So that was a nice reminder of sometimes not having technology, you know, allows us to just connect more in person.
Wow, it's like no movies on the screens, nothing like that anywhere.
No. Oh no, we weren't raw dogging the flight. No, it was
Okay,
definitely like
just making sure. It sounds like you were setting it up, like you had to talk to other people. Oh my gosh.
No, I wanted to talk to I'm not I haven't been watching many movies on planes lately. I've definitely been more of like I either do work or the next most productive thing that I can do if I'm not working is sleeping. And I slept.
All right, that's good. Yeah,
So
I'm curious, viewers. Do you like when people talk to you on the plane? Are you a chatty person on the plane? I don't know. It's like got to be in the mood. Maybe it's because this Gemini of me. Like sometimes I'm in the mood to talk. Other times I'm like, don't even look at me. Don't talk to me. I have my headphones in.
it depends on who it is. I was sitting next to a really nice lady and she was probably a little bit older than my mom as far as age wise. And so with that, like it's a very non-threatening, no commitment sort of conversation versus if it is a guy, like, you, I mean, as a female, like, you never know. You're like, I'm just trying to have a easy conversation. Next, thing you know, they're like, "Hey, do you want to go out for drinks?" I'm like, "No."
Sorry.
So sorry. This is
Sarah
what.
the heartbreaker out there.
Oh my gosh, breaking hearts on planes and Parisian streets around the world. I'm kidding.
Yeah. So what was it like in Paris? I haven't been there in a while. How were the streets of Paris? Was anything crazy, normal, love it? What
It
was
was
it like?
great. So for those that know Paris, August is it's the vacation month for Parisians. So a lot of Parisians are out of town. It's also a great month for sales, shopping sales. So it was busy, but a little less congested than I think kind of like the height of summer. And so it was just great. It was. I haven't been back, and for those that might not know, like I actually studied there for 2 summers when I was 16 and 17. It was the first time that I kind of like lived someplace on my own. I did summer school there, so my mom took me there, and then she let me at this school. But I mean, I had free range. Like it was like I was going around town. So it was the first metro I learned,
Wow.
the first city I learned. So there's a very special place for it in my heart, and it was just great. Just the baguettes on the street and all that good
I
stuff.
need to
So,
get back. I haven't been there in a while. Europe is on my list this coming year. I got some big plans to hit on over there.
yeah,
So we'll
right.
make a list of all these things. But Christelle is saying good morning,
Good
everyone
morning.
back in Palm Beach. She loves the 10 a.m. or 7 a.m. in LA. I agree with you. And she's a talker, depending on the person and the mood. All right.
Same girl, same.
You see? I agree. We're all the same. We're all very friendly.
We are.
But let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to see where you're tuning in from. We always love seeing all the different countries that are here. Don't be
Yeah.
shy. Enter in a little comment here, and we'll give you a shout out on the show.
Yes.
But we got a lot of fun things to cover today. What do you think? Should we get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it, as the cool kids like to say. All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about what's going on with Marriott. So Marriott, Q2, what, you like my jokes this morning? Yeah,
The
because
cool
I'm really,
kids. You're hanging with the cool kids. I know.
I
I'm
am
gonna
not.
check with some of the elementary school kids later when I pick up summer camp. Like, what are with
Really
cool kids saying here today? Never.
in elementary school. Oh my gosh. All right. So Marriott's Q2 shows that a US performance flattens. So Marriott's basically posted that a flat RevPAR and occupancy for Q2. And it was interesting because government as well as group travel demand weakened.
Mhm.
This is, I mean, is it a surprise? I don't know. Are you
Well, we've
surprised?
been talking about it for a little while. What I did like as I dove a little deeper into this was seeing what
Yeah.
we've been talking about. Luxury continues to be high. So Ritz Carlton was up 6%
Mm-hmm.
for brands. But the other part was the entry level stuff was low, right? So you kind of
Yeah.
start seeing the ultra wealthy still have their money to spend. They're going to be out there using that money and traveling how they want. And then some of those that are more travel friendly budget hotels are seeing a slowdown. So it's kind of like what we're seeing across the country, right? As prices start to get higher on things. We're definitely not in the government here, but we know that there was a lot of cutting at the beginning of the year with the
Of
Doge.
course.
So you see that, and they have a lot of hotel rooms in Washington D.C. area because that's really where their headquarters are at in Bethesda. So a lot of stuff going on, and they're seeing some headwinds. But there was something that was really interesting to me on this.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
So their app that they have
Yeah.
for their members, they're going to start charging. They made a media company called Marriott Media, and they're going to start having ads on their platform. So to their
Mm-hmm.
240 million members, you could start to curate ads that show up when people are booking and doing different things. So I feel like that's going to be a big revenue driver for them as well as they start to really develop this media platform
Totally.
that they're on. I know you've done media for Marriott in the past,
I
so maybe
do.
we'll see Sarah popping up on your app showing you what to do.
Maybe. Maybe. No, but this is actually exciting because as somebody that's kind of worked with Marriott for quite some time, since prior to the pandemic. So for those that actually don't know, I actually have done like a lot of curated social media marketing content for them prior to the pandemic. And then since the pandemic, I do a lot of SMTs, which are satellite media tours. And so a lot of like TV things talking about different trends that are happening, the different properties, all of that. And so seeing what their media department was before, very robust, a lot of different aspects to it. And they had some fantastic people working at the property prior to the pandemic that had previous experience in TV and all of that. And then naturally, with the pandemic, everything got sort of trimmed down, as many companies did. And so I'm excited about seeing this because, again, it looks like they're pushing more in this direction. Yeah, and it's just interesting to see. I feel like Hilton is kind of doing something similar as well. So, of course, the two kind of big brands neck and neck, head to
Mhm.
head with this. But again, I love it. Like I love any chance that any of these brands can kind of get a little bit creative with their media. We're just living in a whole different world. So
Yeah,
a
I
little
love it.
more creativity. Yeah.
I love seeing it. I think that will be something, if they use it the right way, will drive even more business to the right
Yeah.
places, because you're already going on social media to get inspired, which we'll talk about later in this show as well.
Mhm.
Why not have your own place to really show and highlight all the cool things your properties are doing to inspire people to go? But also on their app, for being a Bonvoy member, that I think I forgot the exact stat, but it was high 60% of their bookings comes through their members. So it just shows you the power. If you have 40 million people to advertise to in your ecosystem already, man,
Yep.
that is very, very exciting
Uh,
for them.
69%. So pretty much 70%.
Just
If you
call
just
70% of people
Yeah.
booking booked as a Bonvoy member.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's a crazy
It
stat.
it is great. I mean, look, I book all of my anything that I'm doing for Marriott or Hilton if I'm deciding to stay at one or the other, always booking it straight through the app. And I'm members of both. So yeah.
Yeah, listen, if you can build your own audience, we've seen it with other brands. I'm learning about it with, my friend Ben Wolf and his properties at Onera that are very boutique, but they get 80% of their bookings through Instagram, right? And so they're building their little ecosystem. And it's just
Yep.
cool to see how big brands and small brands can really get creative to drive this business.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. So cool. I love to see this. Well, why don't we go on to this next topic, which kind of ties into all of it?
Hmm.
You're like, mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Let's get some more stats in here.
Oh wait, here, hold on. What is this one? Wait, why? Hold on. So is this the social media and pop culture, right?
I saw that kind of mix in. We have two
Hold
things
on.
in one on
We
our
have two
sheet.
things
So
in one. Yeah,
viewers,
exactly.
listen, we're in a new platform. We're learning. If you didn't
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
last week, we are now officially Skifters. We're on the Skift platform, and we're using some new tools. And so we're getting the hang of all this. But it's a mix of two articles,
Yep.
I think, on here.
You want to
So
read the first part with the U.S. hotel industry is kind of showing an occupancy dip?
yeah, so the first part is showing again what we were talking about with Marriott. So we've got a dip in occupancy of sit to 72.2%, so slower momentum than expected across the board. And ADR and RevPAR saw a modest year-over-year gain, and seasonal patterns and new supply contributed to the downturn. Right, so we're seeing a lot more inventory coming in, not as many people traveling, but people trying to drop prices and get in there. And
Mm-hmm.
then the other part was about social media and pop culture's influence in travel trends, and we're starting to
Yeah.
see some cool things there.
And I can
So
chime in on this because
do it.
my good friends over at Allianz, I've worked with them year in, year out. Every year, I'm a huge fan of the study that they do every year, and I highly recommend for anybody in the travel industry, hoteliers, whatever, to be sure to seek out their vacation confidence index. So what they do is they do this massive research, and they're polling travelers and kind of getting the take on like how much are they spending, how long are they traveling for, what are they looking for, and it gets highly specific. So
Mhm.
this they were saying that 47% of Americans aged 18 to 34 report that their travel plans are influenced by social media. You are welcome, like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. But I can absolutely attest to this because of the conversations that I have on social media. But 42% of this age group say that their vacation choices are also affected by recent TV shows and movies. Emily in Paris, anyone? As
Yep.
another example.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's this trend that's really showing that there's this a growing connection, not a surprise, between digital content consumption as well as real world travel experiences. We want to be living in our own movies and social. We want to create our own like little social media stories, right?
I agree. I've been in that too lately. And so it was interesting to see. I was surprised that men are more likely than women to be influenced by the social media content. It was one of the lines here. And I thought that
Yeah.
was shocking. right? I definitely thought it would be the other way around, but then I started thinking, I was like, Steve, you've been looking at some really cool adventure, social media, and I want to go do my little Indiana Jones type movie and go out into the jungles and the deserts and the mountains and go exploring and see cool things. So I was influenced by stuff like that and people who are doing it. So one of my very good friends just came back from, Chile, was on top of these giant mountains and
Yeah.
skiing and doing some crazy stuff. So I'm not a skier, but I'll go do the hiking and do all the other fun stuff. So you never know.
That is a very interesting stat to me because again, I would also feel since we know that majority of women make the travel decisions, and we've seen this in studies by TripAdvisor. It's been the case for years. So, but I find that interesting that men are more likely to be influenced by social media. Ooh,
Yeah, in my household for many, many years, I was the one booking all the trips. So it was interesting to see, right? A little different. So if
yes.
you're a view watching now, let us know. Are you be influenced by social media? Do you go to social media first to get inspired to do that? Just say yes or no. I'd love to see
Say
what you do.
yes. Actually, please say yes. And I go to ask a concierge and she influences me to do everything.
And Gloria is saying this is very true. Japan and
Kidding.
Thailand are the new hotspots for people under 35. And
Yeah,
social media has so much to do with it. Listen, I've been to Thailand. I loved it there. And Cambodia. I haven't been
totally.
to Japan yet. I really want to get over there.
I haven't either. Woo! Group
There it
trip to
is.
Japan.
GMH trip in Japan, live from
Woo!
Tokyo.
Let's
Would love
make
to
that
do that.
happen. Oh my gosh, live from Tokyo. Good morning from Tokyo. All right. I'm just planting the seed.
Let's put
That's
it out
all.
into the world. We already put it into the universe.
Totally, totally. And realize that I'm obviously tone deaf. So why don't we move on to, to our next topic? You ready for that?
Let's do it.
Let's keep this show moving. Okay. Oh, I'll kind of say the start to this, but I know that you are highly passionate about this topic. So I'm going to volley to you afterwards just
Okay.
so I can be completely transparent here. So this is an interesting article that was coming out about how hiring individuals with intellectual disabilities are mutually benefiting hotels and employees. So, Steve, to you.
I will say this. Look, I love this topic a lot, and it has a special place in my heart because ever since I started my hotel career, I got to work with the team at Best Buddies
Mhm.
here in Miami Beach, where we would take individuals that really, have some kind of disabilities of all different kinds, and they would get put into our teams and would be really one of the highlights of our resort. And so when I worked at the pool and beach, we had team members that maybe hadn't had the opportunity to work other places that really would become stars, right? They would work so hard to be the best pool attendant or the best towel
Love
hut
that.
representative or be a great greeter. And I don't want to give their full names, but I can still see them in my mind
I
with
love that.
Craig and Linny and Eric. And during the pandemic, when we had to lay a lot of people off, they struggled at home because they were so used to having this awesome routine and being in a resort and doing something that was positive every single day, that their parents, especially one of them, would call me every single day at the same time and ask me, when can my son come back to work? He's not doing well at home. He really wants to be back with his family at the hotel. And I get a
Oh,
little emotional talking about it because as soon as he came back, it was like a light switch went on and he became like this ultra happy person. And he would greet every single person coming down the Palm Courts, this long walk till you get to the pool deck, and greet them with the biggest smile and then say, hey,
love
can I
that.
help you find a chair anywhere? And then he would just talk to people all day. That's really what he had to do all day, was just talk to guests, make sure they were happy. And if they needed something, get them something. If they needed a server, get them a server. If they needed a towel, get them a towel. But it just showed me how important it is. I'm getting a little much talk about it when you see that they
Oh,
have a true purpose in their life every single day and show up somewhere every single day. And I'm just happy I could be a part of their life because they're still friends with me on Facebook and they send me messages here and there. And
I
it's
love
just great.
that.
It's great to see. And they're still there. Like one guy has been there. I call him the legend. Every time I see him, I say, you are the legend because you've been there since the hotel opened in 2000 and he's just doing a great job. So I love seeing that. So if you have the opportunity to hire somebody with disabilities of any kind, I think you really should give it a chance and think about it, especially if you have the ability to.
Well, and then even looking at it from the guest experience as well, is that, guests will enjoy that. Guests will feel good and be happy to see like, wow, you've got somebody that's working here that's loving working here. They will enjoy that interaction, even if they might even have individuals in their family, and they're more likely to come stay there because, they'll feel that sort of comfort. And I love, this is a little bit of a segue, but even when I was just on the cruise recently with Cunard going through the Norwegian fjords, there were, I'm sure at least several, but at one point we were all on the dance floor and there was a gentleman in a wheelchair who came out, and he rolled out on that dance floor and he was like, let's go. And he was dancing. It's
Mhm.
like, and we were all just having a great time. And I looked over and I'm like, how amazing that all of us can be on this cruise ship in the middle of the North Sea, listening to cheesy 80s music, so many different generations. It doesn't, and everybody's just having a good time. But from him to other individuals that were traveling with their families, cruise ships are also really great for that. So from a guest perspective, it's wonderful, but obviously as an employee's perspective, it's hugely important and significant. So this was a great article. Love it.
No, I love it. And so I saw Gloria said, so true, humans, disabled or not, need a purpose. Listen, everyone needs a purpose in life. And I think it's just fun to see and great to see when we can do that as a business and
Yeah.
really lean in and help our communities and be the better. There are some rude guests. I will say that I've had to deal with some rude guests that were like, oh, this person's annoying me, or get this person out of my face, like crazy stuff. Right. But
Yeah.
for the most part, 99%, it's always positive.
Yeah, no, it's great. And again, yeah, I mean, it's seeing that to me just makes me so happy to see that
Yes.
like everybody gets to go out there and travel and
Man,
interact
you
with people.
almost got me here. I almost started to cry here. All right.
Woo, woo. Who says guys don't have feelings too? All right. Well, let's
Emotional
shift.
here today.
Yeah, I know. Well, this might get me emotional, but in a different way. I might get a little heated. All right. So no, because I'm all for promoting travel. But right now there's some talks out there that the US may introduce a $15,000 visa bond for some travelers. Now, this proposal is requiring certain high-risk travelers to post a refundable bond. Um, yeah. So, I mean, obviously, there's going to be specifics to it, but basically the U.S. Department of State recently announced a proposed 12-month-long visa bond pilot program that it could apply to leisure and business travelers who are applying for visas to basically have these post a bond anywhere from 5 to 15,000.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what they're doing here, right? So I guess there's some high
Yeah.
risk countries. They haven't made the list official here. We didn't see it in the
No,
article,
no,
but I guess they'll let us know who high risk countries are. And look, again, we're not in getting into politics here, but there are
no.
people who stay over their visas. They stay longer
Sure.
than they should. And there's, I guess, certain people that do that often. And they were trying to say, all right, if you want to do that, you're going to pay between 5 and 15,000. And if you stay longer, we basically keep that money, and they're putting pressure on the other countries that they're coming from to basically keep their citizens in check. I don't know how this will work. It'll be interesting to see. Like you said, I like when people travel. Tourism is great for our country,
Sure.
right? And we see what starts happening. There's a couple articles I started reading this morning where people blocked having tourism, and now they're regretting it because now all their businesses are closing in some of these smaller cities that thought they had over tourism, right? So it's an interesting balance, and just how we
Totally.
highlighted at the beginning of the show, occupancy is down, right? RevPAR is down. You need people traveling, especially when you're building all the inventory for these tourists.
Totally. And two points to this. One, as I have just been overseas, particularly in Europe over the past 2 weeks, and there were multiple comments that were made because obviously the moment I talk, they're like, "Oh, an American?" I'm like,
Mhm.
give it
Yeah,
away.
what was the vibe?
I actually had Cunard. Keep in mind, Cunard is a cruise company that's been around since 1840, British based. So a good number of the people traveling on the ship are British, but there are a lot of Americans, people from other countries as well. But I had a couple of British individuals say that we are actively looking to book cruises that do not go to any ports in the U.S. We don't even want to deal with it. We don't want to take trips to the US and this. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah. And adamant. And I mean, these are like conversations in passing while I'm in the elevator, like there's not chance to like get into a deep dive, but I from multiple sources. Also, as being somebody who, has always worked in or not has worked in Beverly Hills, seeing like especially in London and then in Paris, different groups of travelers where I would recognize that those type of individuals might be the individuals that would be normally in Beverly Hills, and we don't have them here right now. And it's like, oh, well, they're all in London right now, or they're all in Paris.
Yep.
So that was really interesting to see. And then the other quick thing, I read in an article this week, and I think it was talking about India. And so if you're traveling from India to the US, and I don't know if this is current, so please correct me if I'm incorrect, but it was basically talking about how they would have to pay $500 per person basically for their visa to come to the US. So if you are from India and you're coming to the US for a vacation, a family of 4, it's minimum $2,000 just to get into the United States. That just is that. That's not covering the flights or anything.
Yeah.
So okay, I mean, we are very lucky as Americans that we don't have to deal with a lot of this for most of the countries that we go to, but this is a very real thing that is going on that I think that we as Americans don't necessarily realize until we're having the conversations with other individuals.
Yeah, and you've been seeing it because you're in different countries, you're
Oh,
in different cruises. You're one of the few people in the world that gets to do this all the time and get to see how things are looked at differently.
yeah,
Because sometimes we're in our own bubble of what's going on.
yeah,
But it's interesting, right? So if you think about any business, right? If you start talking about that business, you then tell a friend, and that friend tells another friend, right? They say like one person can influence hundreds of people. So
totally,
I would hate to see that start happening here, but I know that we as a country, we're always welcoming, hopefully, people. We have that mindset, and we
totally,
want people coming to visit us. So,
absolutely.
all right,
Challenging. All right, let's
let's lighten
continue
up the
on.
mood here.
Woo! Okay, wait. No, I am passionate about this.
This one,
All
I'm
right.
curious to see what you think.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so TSA hints at ending the 3-ounce liquid rule. Oh my gosh, I am so excited. For those that travel, you probably know that TSA always has a rule that currently liquids are limited to 3.4 ounces or less for carry-on bags. And this could potentially be the next big announcement. Now, as everybody knows that they stopped doing requiring you to take off your shoes. Now with liquids, this could be an interesting
Just speed it
change.
up. I'm excited to see where this goes. And I know
Yes.
my kids will be excited because our last flight that we went on, they took my kids' slime in the slime container. They're like, nope, too much slime. You can't take this on the plane. And they were like, what do you mean? Why are you taking away my slime? And the guy's like, you're not allowed to bring this on the plane. So that was my
No
daughter asking.
way.
Yep.
Well,
All because of
liquids
that.
are also like, okay,
Yeah,
that's
all
it's
different
not
things. It was this liquid, right? It was a slime. So
yogurt.
anyhow, it's just funny to
Yogurt is a
see
liquid.
yogurt, water, like anything, a drink you can't bring in. So it's just interesting to see all the things that we've come to. Because I still remember, it's gotten old now. When we could go to the airport, you just like walked in. You could walk up to the gate, right, and say goodbye to your family and friends. Like I still remember clear my grandparents coming and meeting us at the gate. Like you could just
Yes.
like walk in. You didn't need a ticket. You could just walk through and be there. So a lot has changed just in our lifetime. So I'm curious to see how the pendulum swings back just to get us through things faster. So we're not taking off our shoes and dumping our waters and all the other things that we do that keep us safe. And thank you to TSA. You have a hard job of screening everything. And I love
Mhm.
arriving safe at places and not having to worry about getting attacked. So I guess it's a balance in all of this. And with technology, it gets better.
Yeah, I mean, and basically why they're talking about this is they're exploring some new technologies, specific CT scanners that could create a more detailed 3D image. So that's how what they're kind of leaning into to help get us out of
Yep.
this liquid rule. And they are exploring kind of this technology in some airports already, specifically London Gatwick right now. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think they have now one in Miami that's
Okay.
very detailed because you don't have to take off your shoes. You don't take anything out of your
Yeah.
bag. You just put it through.
Yeah.
But then they're opening a lot of bags too. So let's see. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I will have to say I was kind of dreading to go to Charles de Gaulle yesterday in Paris when I was leaving because they're known for they always want I think it's like one of the only airports that they insist on having all of your liquids in a clear plastic bag. And I have a travel bag. I've got lip gloss here. I've got like a roll-on deodorant here. I've got whatever it is, and it's not all in one plastic bag. And I was just like, if these guys I'm also carrying a drone, a camera, whatever. And I was like, I really don't have time to go through all of this with security. And luckily they didn't make me pull everything out, but they have done that to me in the past. So it was nice to not.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you're drone through.
Oh, yeah, no, that's pretty good unless it's like just not let in the country.
Okay.
And nobody really kind of like argues about that anymore. But yeah, I'm always kind of skirting the limits there. But like to keep things exciting.
I brought a
Let's
microphone and they stopped me like I had a bomb on me when I brought the podcast microphone. They're like, "What is this?" Like, it's a
Oh,
microphone.
really?
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh no. Well, so I wonder, well, because I fly out of Los Angeles, and I'm sure like everybody is a podcaster in LA. Like at the beginning, this was probably like 3 years ago. They were like, "Oh, we're just taking a look at your equipment." Now they're really like,
Ah,
"No,
good,
we know what
good.
everything." Oh, ring light. What is this ring light?
It's a
What
bomb.
are you, what are you filming? Stay calm. Anyway. So let's talk about this. My favorite, my friends over at Delta. Woo, this was crazy. It's been interesting watching this. So basically, Delta had proposed, or not proposed. They said that they are doing AI pricing, which kind of makes sense. But they had to really clarify this because they got a lot of backlash that, and they've now had to clarify that they are not doing individualized prices based on personal data. So they announced that they were using AI technology to help them do pricing, which makes sense. And it's a very vague statement to make. But then people were like, oh, are you then now using this AI technology to see like what my supposed net worth is or this or that? And then you're going to make me pay more money for the same flight as somebody else? And they were like, no, 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 that's not what we're doing. But
It's just
oof,
nuts. Listen, I'm a big fan of AI. You know that. I
yeah,
love
yeah, sure.
using it as a tool every day. And if it can help me get better deals, great. But if you're trying to
Sure.
make more money off of my browsing history, or like I've been browsing, somehow you can see that I want to go to Paris and I want to stay
Yeah.
here and do that. That gets a little creepy. I understand. But if it helps do things faster, smoother, more efficient,
Sure.
I'm all about it. But yes, I can see where things are going to get a little weird, right? Even
Well,
AI that we use now, I don't know how often you use it. I don't know about you, viewers and listeners, but it starts to remember things because it takes like certain points and you can tell AI to remember things about you. And then you're like, oh, I forgot I did that a year ago. And it still remembers. So all that history is built in. So just be careful with what you're doing and what you're putting in.
yeah. Well, I mean, as soon as I heard the initial announcement, to me, I was just like, oh, they're just using AI to help with forecasting.
Yeah, with forecasting, with
Which
pricing,
makes
right?
sense.
Like they say, all right,
Yeah.
how much are we pacing ahead? Are we slowing down? Like we use that in hotels all the time. Like there's tools called ideas that they use it for rooms. In vacation rental, there's a couple like beyond pricing and wheelhouse. Like there's a bunch of tools that do this already. And I use
Yeah.
them every day. And I can promise you it's not looking at anyone's net worth. It's just looking at overall demand, how the city is doing,
Absolutely.
how many units are available, right? So don't freak out, everybody. But maybe you never know. It's coming.
Yeah, yeah, our friends at Delta. Hopefully they play the game fair and square, which I think they will.
Yeah, those are your friends. Go talk to them.
Yeah. Hey, it's me. Um well, wow. Those are kind of our big topics that we wanted to cover today.
Big things, a
Um
lot of stats, some
yeah,
fun news, uplifting news, some heavy news. Man, we covered a whole bunch today.
sentimental news. I hope you guys enjoyed this emotional journey that we took
Yeah,
you
it
on.
almost broke me today.
Whoa, whoa, can't wait till next week. Well, that being said, do you want to get to our real-time recap? What's
Let's
happening
do
in
it.
the
You were the
streets
one
of Florida?
traveling the streets of like very exciting places. What did
Yeah.
you see out there?
What did I see? So, well, this was kind of interesting as the hotel girl. I don't always stay in Airbnbs, totally not unopposed and not opposed to them by any means, but it made sense in this particular case and stayed at this really lovely apartment in Paris and was great. I had a wonderful time. Their communication was fantastic, everything was seamless, and it was just a nice reminder that not every trip has to be the same, as far as like the accommodations that you stay in. And it was a nice alternative way to just experience the city. So, I mean, we all know that we are big fans of um short-term rentals and all sort of
Mhm.
that sort of thing on this platform, but it was great to just have that sort of hospitality. And even though I didn't necessarily interact face to face with anybody, I still felt so very welcomed there. So
All right, very
shout out to
nice.
them.
I love it. Well, I'm gonna do something a little different today.
Uh-oh. Are
Um,
you going on a rant?
no, no rant. Actually, I want to give a shout out to someone who doesn't even know I exist, but I like watching this person on YouTube. It's a YouTuber named Ryan Trahan, and he
Okay.
visited 50 states in 50 days and stayed in 50 Airbnbs. His
Okay.
goal was to find the coolest Airbnb, but he was doing all of this to raise money for St. Jude's, and his goal was $1 million. And so basically,
Yes.
there's like little challenges each day, and people could donate to watch this YouTube channel. And every day, a new video came out. So it went for 50 days. So basically, I watched it all summer, every day with my family. And he raised $11.4 million after 50 days for St. Jude. And he went to every state and had to do challenges with like random people in the streets. And it just showed you that there are so many kind and nice people everywhere in the country because he hit all 50 states in 50 days. And it really just shows you like, yeah, we see a lot of stuff on the news and big headlines of all the terrible things going on. But I
Yeah.
love that this guy and his wife in this video went to all these states, and you could see how great people really are most of the time in day-to-day life. And so I think for any of you out there, we always talk about how we sign off the show. Stay hospitable, use some of that hospitality to really, take care of others. And it was a great YouTube show that I enjoyed watching. So shout out to Ryan Trahan on what
Love
he
that.
accomplished. Yeah.
Bringing that world of hospitality to YouTube. And I like, I mean, I don't know his background, but I like that he might not even necessarily have a background in
Oh,
hospitality.
he
And then,
doesn't know.
yeah,
He's a 26-year-old guy and created his YouTube channel a couple of years ago, and now he has like 30 million subscribers and does cool things. And this was really cool to watch.
love that. I love
Mhm.
that. Oh, that's cool. More heartwarming stories. Well, why don't we get to our hospitality quote?
This is a perfect one.
This is a fantastic one. Would you like to read this?
I think I should read this one.
Okay.
Hospitality is simply an opportunity to show love. We don't know who said that, so I'll say it's from Steve Turk.
Woo!
Hospitality is simply an opportunity to show love, and it's true. We're just taking care of
Mhm.
people, right? And that's true
Yeah.
hospitality when it comes down to it. People come to stay with you or come to your restaurant, and it just may be day to day when you hold the door open for somebody. You're showing love to that person for that moment. So if you're just holding the door open, why don't we challenge all of our viewers today? Hold the door open for someone, wish them good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and you're showing love for that moment.
Compliment them. If they're wearing a cool outfit, give them a compliment. Just be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
great. I love your shirt. I love your dress."
yeah, cool
Whatever it is.
shoes. Yeah,
Totally. I think the thing that I enjoy the most, especially with interacting, nothing gives me greater pleasure than speaking to somebody where you might not have the same native language and you're still able to crack a joke about something. And there were different times that I was able to make jokes. I ordered a cappuccino at like 5 p.m. at one point, and everybody looked at me and I was like, "Oh, I would like a cappuccino with a side of judgment, please." And like everybody, that's something simple, but it it's that type of stuff. It's like humor, I think, is so connected to connection and love and camaraderie and all of that. So yeah, just go ahead and pass on that love. Maybe do it with a side of humor, whatever it is.
yeah. I love it. What a good emotional show today. Much love to you, Sarah, to Will in the background, to all of you listeners and viewers. We love sharing this time with you.
Totally.
Um, Man, the emotions are out there. Something got to be going on with the moon and the stars today. I don't know about all the astrology, but something's going on out there.
Wow, Steve, didn't know that you were really getting into astrology these days, but
You
we
know,
can totally continue that
let's
conversation
do it.
offline. Oh, Lionsgate portal's happening in 2 days. Okay, I'm gonna
I don't
stop
know
on
what
that.
that is. And also, I just want to thank everyone who bought a book this week. Thank you, Hospitality Unlocked, my book available on Amazon. I saw a lot of you bought it this week. Thank you very much. I appreciate you
Cool.
all. Thank you. And you got Sarah's book. Do you have your book with you,
Yeah,
Sarah? Give a
I
shout
do have
out
my
for your
book.
book.
I got a book. I might have.
Show everybody. We'll keep pushing. It's always good to see. I love it. Thank you for the reviews. Hospitality from within. Let's go, everybody. Until next week.
Woo!
Stay
Stay
hospitable.
hospitable.
Hey, listeners, this episode is brought to you by EF World Journeys. Today's travelers want more from their vacation. That's why more people are turning to travel professionals to help them explore the world with confidence. For nearly 35 years, EF World Journeys has been the go to guided experiential travel company for leisure travelers who want to learn more about people, places, and cultures around the world. Its brands EF Ultimate Break, EF Go Ahead Tours, and EF Adventures serve everyone from Gen Z to baby boomers and help tens of thousands of US and Canadian travelers every year explore 400 bucket list destinations. EF World Journeys is one of North America's biggest guided group tour companies, and its expert planned immersive itineraries focus on the big moments and little things that make travel and meeting new people so rewarding. It's experiential travel that goes deeper, where every journey builds a connection, inspires wellness, and fuels a lifelong love of learning. EF World Journeys, guided by experts, driven by curiosity. To learn more, go to efworldjourneys.com.